I've seen porn content, fully nude people. I've seen videos and images about suicide. So there is a range of content available.
Just to clarify, was this content accessed on pupils' iPads?
Yeah, so on school devices, student devices, and sometimes logged into student accounts. So
you found pornography on student iPads on student accounts?
Yes.
How did you feel about that?
Horrified. And I don't want my kids seeing that. I've got 3 boys, they're all in primary school, and that is totally unacceptable to me.
I did a deep dive, looked at all sorts of types of content, and it was horrific. I was shocked and I was really disappointed.
What did you find?
I saw content like sexual content, I saw eating disorder content, I saw content around self-harm, I saw content around predator behaviour.
Suicide videos and porn. Shocking material easily accessed on school-issued devices at 6 primary schools around Auckland.
This was from a primary school and on a 2 student devices, iPad, Chromebook.
Joe Robertson and Holly Brooker visited 4 of the schools in person to test internet safety restrictions and asked 2 other schools to run the same tests themselves. The results were the same. Pulling up harmful material was simple.
Babies or kids who can penetrate animals. Over here, they were able to access TikTok just via the domain. Straight away, video comes up, R18 content.
They are involved in a campaign for better technology to reduce harmful content through their company Makes Sense. More than 2,500 schools and kura around the country are provided internet and certain safety measures by a single government-funded provider.
Is that working?
No, it's not. We have a government-funded service and no significant questions are being asked around the performance of that. So if you're going to ask parents or ask students to bring their own devices or to be on devices in the classroom because you think that's going to help their learning, then you have to keep them safe. And at the moment, we're just not.
The provider, Network for Learning, or N4L, told the Herald it blocked 12.6 billion attempts to access inappropriate material at schools in the past year. N4L says it can block any website, and its baseline web filtering service blocks 17 categories of websites. However, while N4L can block websites like, for example, Pornhub.com, it can't block content like images or video within those sites. So the company could block CNN, but a CNN video of violence in Gaza could still be found by entering the right search terms. This year, the Education Ministry paid $33 million to N4L to provide internet, security and safety at our schools.
And currently, we've got the ministry not asking hard questions, and we've also got a lot of educators who have no idea what's available. So there's a real gap in communication and provision of service.
So you're saying that some of the teachers would not know that could access what you could in the class?
No idea.
And is that because they assumed that there was a safety system in place?
Absolutely, yeah. That's definitely the experience that we've found talking with lots of different teachers and principals, is there is an assumption that the platforms are safe, the devices are safe, and they're not.
Holly, a former high school teacher herself, says it's not about blaming schools or teachers who are busy focusing on teaching. It's about the ministry ensuring we're ahead of the game. The Education Ministry told the Herald it expects that N4L has all the capabilities for schools to be as permissive or restrictive as they wish.
And what we're asking the Ministry of Education to do is to ask some really critical questions, some big questions. What do you expect of your provider around internet safety? Like, what are the standards? What are the expectations? Because currently there are none. And so we've just got providers who will do what they think might be best and currently underperforming. We don't have an expectation that anything is going to be 100%. You know, we're not naive on that. However, we do expect at least 90 and we're definitely not anywhere close to there.
The Secondary Principals Association President Vaughan Keogh has N4L at his school. He says the service is great, but there are limitations.
Unless you're investing tens of millions of dollars, it's never going to be good enough. So what we do is we've got to make do with what we've got and make improvement suggestions as we go. I am sure if you spoke to the team at nzherald, they would want to be able to create a solution that looks like this, but at the moment the funding model looks like something else, and so they do the best they can within that bucket of funding that they've got. So is it good enough? No. Is that the fault of anybody? Yep, the people that are doing the wrong thing on the other end.
So what you're saying is that nzherald is constrained by the funding they get from the ministry?
Yes.
At the extreme end, what are some of the threats of violence that students are making at the moment?
Well, look, we've seen emails that the student has written to another student where they are, threatening, telling them to end their life.
Sunil Hagler, a former teacher, is the Education Director for Linewise, which provides real-time alerts to schools when harmful material is accessed. He says even threats being sent on email or social media can be flagged.
For example, over the last 12 months, every single month we have been flagging adult content searches for porn to the New Zealand schools that we support.
Like what? What are they actually... What are students typing in looking for?
Porn.
Right.
That exact word.
Are young people, 5 to 10-year-olds, actually searching for inappropriate content though?
Yes, they are.
On what basis do you make that statement?
Well, so look, we have the data. Essentially that is what we help schools to be able to do, is to identify what young people are searching for. Someone needs to know if a child does that. At the end of the day, we cannot filter our way out of this problem. We can't block our way to a safer internet. There needs to be a lot more that's done than basic level filtering.
And nearly every week, he says urgent calls are made to schools due to a child suspected of being at risk.
These are very vulnerable individuals that are going to the internet and asking it, how do I kill myself in some cases.
And you are picking that up from New Zealand schools, searches by New Zealand kids?
That's right, yep.
That's pretty worrying.
It is.
Linewise provides its services to around 20% of New Zealand schools, and Hagler says a new tool will soon be available which automatically blurs anything that might be deemed inappropriate.
And in the case of images, yes, you can blur an image if it falls into, pornography, intimate apparel, or gore, as those three categories that we blur. And
so how does that work? Is it AI?
It's AI, that's right.
Classification Office research in 2018 said 1 in 4 children aged 12 or younger had seen porn. A majority of young people have seen it by the age of 14, and most had seen pornography by aged 17.
Even if you have great systems at school, isn't there always going to be a way that if young people want to find inappropriate material, they're going to, because it's the internet?
Yeah, look, I think that's potentially something you could say about a lot of things in society, where young people are potentially at risk from something that they shouldn't be able to access until they're 18. We've got a vaping epidemic, we've got, alcohol access pre-18. Pornography in some way, shape or form has always been in our lives and will continue to always be there. But look, I'm a parent with 2 young kids. I want them to be kids for as long as they can be.
Well, what is the best solution here? What should parents do if they're trying to dissuade their children from searching for all sorts of stuff on the internet?
The first step would be to delay. So for as long as possible, allow them a play-based childhood, not a device-based childhood. And so you want to do that for many, many years, is keep devices limited. And because they're already getting that at school.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. To stay up to date with all the latest New Zealand Herald news, click the subscribe button below or check out one of these videos. And head over to nzherald.co.nz for more news worth knowing.